Hello and welcome to Too Many Tabs, a traditional podcast where a traditional wife sits across from a traditional husband at a traditional desk where one of them has done traditional research.
Why are you saying this?
What?
Why do you keep saying traditional?
Well, I discovered recently if you just add traditional to stuff, you can just mean whatever you want.
No, it doesn't mean whatever you want. And we're not traditional.
Well, I know we're not traditional, but like maybe we're like a new tradition, right? For like some people, they put on our podcast with their friends or their family when they're driving for too long or they're at a job they don't like, and they listen to us like research a topic and then talk about it. It's their weekly tradition, right?
Yeah.
And if that's something you do every single week, then we are a tradition, which makes us a traditional podcast. Okay? Which also makes us traditional spouses. All right?
Yeah.
You are a traditional wife.
I am?
I am a traditional husband.
Okay.
All right? And we have traditions. Right?
Right.
What's this week's topic?
Oh, the pioneer woman.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's just kind of irony at that point.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
That's right. We're here.
Air horn.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
It's another week. We are 1 week closer to our Q&A episode, which a lot of people have already sent in a lot of questions,
Yeah.
a lot of suggestions, a lot of different things on our Patreon, which you can access at Pearlmania500.net or patreon.com/Pearlmania500, or just click some of them links down there, y'all. Click the links down below. And Mrs. Pearlmania, what else can they find those links down below? I'll tell you right now because I know you've been dying to hear it. Mm-hmm. Number one, I am going to be a guest at VidCon.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. It's going to be me and a bunch of YouTubers. And I'm going to be walking around all 40 years old. And here's going to be the thing. If I meet a YouTuber, I'm going to ask them what their 9/11 memory was. And if they don't have one, they're too young for me to be near. That's my rule. If you don't have a 9/11 memory, back the fuck up. If you're just a fan, you can still come talk to me. That's fine. I don't care if you have a 9/11 memory because you can meet me at a meet and greet where there will be witnesses of everything that happens.
Why is this?
I am preparing myself.
So specific.
I am preparing myself. This is VidCon, all right?
Yeah.
It's going to be swimming in YouTubers.
Yeah.
I don't trust a single one of them.
No, absolutely
I don't, not a single one. But I'm doing a meet and greet. I'm going to be in Expo Hall in booth 124 on Saturday, June 29th from 1 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
So you're going to LA.
I'm going to be in LA. It's actually Anaheim.
Oh, okay.
Which to me is LA. I've been
It's
told they're
LA.
different. I've been told that they're different.
I'm going to respect that they're different the same way that when people are like, I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm like, where? And they're like, Delaware County. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's the same.
So
it's
I'll
kind of generally.
respect that Anaheim might not be LA.
I'm landing in LAX. All right. That's kind of how I know. Like to me, the whole thing is LA. I usually go at this point, I'm starting to go by what airport am I landing in?
Yeah.
That's where I am until I leave.
Okay, so you're gonna go do a meet and great,
I'm going to meet and greet at VidCon. I'm also just going to be walking around.
and you're gonna avoid YouTubers.
Look
out.
It's kind of hard to avoid them.
Isn't the VidCon where last year there was like a ball pit, but some girl broke her tailbone? Do you remember that?
Was that VidCon? Okay, all right, so there's been so many conventions that involve ball pits.
Okay.
And maybe someday we'll get into those.
Okay, oh my god. I didn't realize I was opening a can of worms.
There's a whole thing with ball pits.
There was like a gal, and then she jumped into it. It turned out there was no bottom, and she just broke her tailbone.
Yeah, it was like a very thin layer of balls.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't even balls. It was like squishy foam squares or something.
Yeah, something like that. I think I remember
So
hearing that.
anyway, what I'm saying is don't jump in any ball pits.
I want to know something. I'm 40 years old. I don't jump.
That's not what TikTok said last night.
Wow, because I did jump into the bed. Now, that's on June 29th.
Yeah.
June 30th, I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona.
That's right. You're zip zap zopping around.
I know. I'm doing some stand-up in Phoenix, Arizona. There will be a meet and greet after that show, and by that I mean I do a picture line. You can come up and have your picture taken with me. If you don't want to hear me do stand-up, buy a ticket, wait exactly 1 hour, and then you can just have a photo taken with me.
Nice.
And it's very nice, and I try to not do too many hover hands. I try to go, Anyway, after that, I'm going to be in Austin, Texas, July 11th, then San Diego, California, July 21st, and then, finally, Atlantic City on August 2nd before we take our little tour breaky.
Yeah.
We're going to be in Atlantic City. We're going to go to the beach.
It's called the stay home and go to bed part of the tour.
It's going to be well over 100 degrees at that point. We are here in June in Pennsylvania, and it is about to hit 99 degrees.
Perfect.
Which is not a normal temperature.
Okay, we don't want to talk about this.
Okay, we don't want to talk too much about
this.
that.
This is a fun podcast.
It is?
Traditionally fun podcast. We've never talked about anything that was a bummer.
Okay, that's true. We've definitely never talked about bummerino episodes. We've definitely never talked about redlining or the Spanish Inquisition. My topics. Anyway, your topic is this week.
Yeah.
And what, again, we already said at the top.
The pioneer woman.
The pioneer woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Quinn?
Yes.
Medicine woman?
Uh-huh.
That's who we're talking about?
Exactly.
Wait, no, you mean the lady from Walmart.
I do mean the lady from Walmart.
Who just slaps color on stuff?
I love that you think she's the lady from Walmart.
That's the only place I've ever seen her.
I know. That's the great drum off point.
It's amazing. All right, so with that, we are going to go ahead and start the show. If you are not a Patreon member, then you are going to get hit with ads. If you don't like ads, join our Patreon, patreon.com/Pearlmania500 or Pearlmania500.net. And this is Too Many Tabs. We back. We're here.
We're here.
We're ready.
Let's go.
Okay.
Anne Marie Smith.
Anne Marie Smith.
Okay, so her nickname is Ree from the end of Marie. They call her Ree.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay.
That's not where I would go with it, but that's what happened.
You have a single syllable name already. It's Anne.
It's Anne. It's right there.
I don't know why. I guess maybe there's another Anne in the family.
Or Mayor.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor would be...
No. To be fair, to be completely fair,
yeah.
That's a Northeast Philly thing.
Yeah.
Where you guys grab first syllables.
Yeah, always.
Right? Mayor, like everyone else, like Ree makes more sense. Like that is more of a Southern thing.
Okay, well... Okay. Up here in the north, we use the front of the word, not the end of the word.
Okay, that's actually also not true. That's not a northern thing. Again, I'm sticking with that's a Northeast Philadelphia, your neighborhood thing, where everybody gets shortened to one syllable.
So anyway, Mayor, no, Ree Smith, that's what we're talking about today, the pioneer woman.
Okay.
Okay. She was born January 6th, 1969.
January 6th?
1969.
Can I tell you, on the last episode, someone was really proud that you had the date, the year they were born.
I know. Look at me.
And you noticed it. You noticed that comment, didn't you?
I was like,
and you're
look
like,
at
all right,
me.
I'm going to start writing those down.
I got to write down these birthdays.
So she was born on January 6th, 1969.
Yep.
Okay. Double nice? You get a nice for 69. You get a nice for January 6th.
She grew up okay, wait, real quick. Just because you said she's a lady from Walmart, I just want to clarify. She is the lady from Walmart because she is a Food Network star.
Oh, okay.
Was a star on the Food Network at the height of Food Network when that was like a big deal.
Okay.
When people were still on cable.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's why
I just want to be
clear.
like, to me, the only time I've ever seen her.
She sells the flowery bowls at Walmart.
Gotcha. I always just assumed that she was like Walmart Rachel Ray.
Rachel Ray was on Food Network.
Okay.
Okay, remember? So we're all coming from Food Network shows.
Gotcha. So she's the Walmart Guy Fieri.
Yes.
She's the Walmart Wolfgang Puck.
Okay.
She's the Walmart Bobby Flay.
You're just saying things. All of them are at Walmart.
Yeah.
You can buy Guy Fieri things and Bobby Flay things.
I know.
And Wolfgang Puck things.
What I'm saying is Food Network is probably just Walmart at this point.
Okay. Yes. And all I'm saying is that I've made many jokes on this podcast about how I want to take her Walmart legacy.
Yeah.
Because I despise the way her plates and dishes look.
The Pioneer Woman.
Stuff. And I want my own line of crock pots and plates.
Gotcha.
So I've been saying I'm coming for her throne. That's been a running joke.
Because you actually would care of what they look like.
Mm-hmm, yes.
We don't know what her aesthetic is, whether or not that these are accurate to her aesthetic or if she's just stamping a name on them.
It is accurate to her aesthetic.
Okay, well, that's worse.
Yeah.
Because her aesthetic
bad.
is hideous.
It's bad.
For the most part. Every now and then there's like a one-off where there's like a bread box and you're like, that's kind of cute.
And it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I'm not giving her money.
No,
because,
okay.
Wow.
Because you're about to explain to me why.
Actually, I didn't know any of this.
Okay.
So here's what happened. We had talked about how she's in the Walmart.
Yeah.
And I want to make my own crockpot line one day.
Yeah.
It's like on my vision board, own a crockpot line.
Okay.
And how I don't like her crockpots.
Okay.
And then I had heard something about her and I was like, that's a weird little nugget. And I tucked it away in the back of my brain. And then I said, I want to learn more about that little nugget in my brain.
Okay.
So I got deep into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Okay. And I found a lot. And that's what I'm bringing you today.
Okay.
Is all the things I found.
So how many?
Which is the summary of our podcast.
How many tabs do you think you opened approximately?
Oh my God. It was like when they're tiny.
Oh, like you just only see like 2 letters?
Yeah, exactly. I was
wow.
like, oh man, what's that one?
So we're at the max possible tabs.
We're at the max possible tabs.
Yeah.
Because it got really deep and crazy.
Yeah.
To the point where some of the stuff I had to leave out.
Wow. You actually left stuff out?
I had to.
That's new for you.
There was offshoots of the story that I could come back to.
Okay.
But I was like, wait, I need to really summarize what's going on with her.
Okay. So tell me more about Walmart Guy Fieri, pioneer woman born January 6, 1969, who goes by Ree, even though her name is Anne Marie.
Anne Marie, Ree.
Okay.
She grew up on the grounds of a country club in the oil town of Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Okay, so she grew up at a country club. That doesn't sound very pioneering to me.
Yeah. Out the gate, her father is an incredibly successful and prominent surgeon in Oklahoma.
Okay.
She grew up in what would be considered like the upper middle class.
Gotcha. So her dad is Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, except it's the 1960s and he's actually a surgeon, and the town is not the frontier. It's literally an established town.
Yeah.
Very pioneer-like.
Country club.
Got it.
Okay. So she leaves Oklahoma to attend college in LA, California.
She goes to LA?
She goes to LA.
Is she near Anaheim?
No, she goes to University of Southern California, USC.
Oh, okay.
Which is in LA, I believe.
Okay, I believe that's in LA. Do you think it's close to the booth 124 in Expo Hall on June 29th?
I think you'd have to get in a car and drive.
I think you'd have to get in the car and drive from there.
Anaheim is a drive.
I've only been to California once. This is my second time to California since I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Last time I was in California, pre 9/11.
Wow.
I know.
This whole podcast just seems to be about your meet and greet and 9/11. And I don't know why those two have to be together.
Listen, I don't know either. I hope we aren't doing a sequel. Keep it going.
So she goes to USC and she's studying journalism, but she switches her degree to I'm going to say this wrong, gerontology. And I had to look it up because I was like, the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Gerontology is the study of the aging process and individuals across the life course. It includes the study of physical, mental, and social changes in people as they age. The investigation of how an aging population affects society.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. So gerontology, geriatric. Yeah, they're all there. Okay, got it.
So after graduation, she's planning on attending law school. She's going to go to Chicago.
Wait, so she gets a degree in gerontology, and then it's like, I'm going to be a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't see journalism.
Yeah, I don't. Journalism to lawyer makes sense.
Sure.
A lot of lawyers are English majors.
Yeah.
You know, I know a few lawyers who, because of the specifics of the law they wanted to go into,
you need to write.
They were like, oh no, they went and learned like not just writing, but like they went and learned like a specific science, right?
Yeah.
Like chemistry because they're gonna go do patent law or some shit like that, right? Like I know some people like that, but like I don't understand. Like, the only thing I can see is you're just doing old people stuff.
Well, elder law is a thing.
I know elder law is a thing, but like gerontology, like I wouldn't need to go study old people.
As someone who worked with a lot of lawyers, over the course of my life, the thing about having a law degree sometimes is that it's a lot of attorneys or people that have law degrees don't become attorneys. The degree itself is really a handshake. It's a networking opportunity.
Gotcha.
Law school is a way to meet the right people.
Yeah.
And get into the right circles. And it's a networking opportunity, and it's just a degree at a certain point for a lot of people.
It's more or less just another master's. It's like a type of master. Okay.
For some people.
So where did she go again? You said Chicago?
She was heading to Chicago.
She was heading to Chicago.
Again,
not the frontier. Keep going. Understood.
So her plans, she has a change of plans.
And I'm guessing we're in like the 80s now. Because she was born in 69, so this has to be...
91.
91? Okay.
So... she goes home to Oklahoma for a bit. I guess she had graduated, so she goes back to Oklahoma while she plans to go to law school.
Okay.
And while she's at home for a little bit, she meets a man.
Oh.
And she
meets a man.
She describes him as the Marlboro Man.
Oh, so he's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy.
Okay.
She described him as quiet, handsome, down home, hardworking, real salt of the earth. Okay. The salt of the earth kind of guy.
Got it.
She quickly decides to give up on law school and marries him immediately.
Gotcha.
Like immediately.
Wow.
Unexpectedly. So she marries him in 96. So she started college at USC in 91. She's married to him by 96.
Okay, so she probably would have graduated by like 95.
Exactly.
She literally comes home for like that weekend in between.
Yeah. And she's like probably scheduling her LSAT or something.
Yeah.
And she meets this guy at a bar.
Yeah.
And she's like, nope.
And he's like, where are you going to go? Chicago?
Yeah.
You know what they got there in Chicago? A lot of inner city crime. I've been listening to a lot of Rush Limbaugh here in Oklahoma. It's scary out there.
I got news. Yeah. Rush Limbaugh's dead and rotting.
Right now he is.
Yeah, isn't that great? Isn't it nice to think about?
It feels good every time.
Every time. Just think about how
everybody, real quick. Rush Limbaugh, been dead.
Dead, rotting.
Been dead for a while.
The bugs that ate him got a little sick.
You know what? The bugs that ate him have been dead for a while, too. We're on like 27 generations of bugs since then.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question.
Ronald Reagan also dead.
Oh my God. Wait, listen, stop trying to make me so happy on this podcast right now. Like,
I know. This is our flirting, by the way. This is how we flirt.
Hey, babe, guess what? Margaret Thatcher.
Shut up.
Fucking dead.
Oh, yeah.
What? I know.
That's good stuff.
Oh, okay, so listen.
Yeah.
The question is, what kind of man do you drop everything for?
Yeah.
Right? You're like, I'm going to law school. She's a country club girly.
Yeah.
She's the kind of girl, she's wearing high heels. She's going to LA.
But she's Oklahoma, though.
But she's Oklahoma.
There's Oklahoma. There's a lot of tradition.
But she's the kind of gal.
Yeah.
I get from reading her back history, she's the kind of young woman who theoretically watched Sex in the City and was like, I want to go live in the big city life.
Sex in the City was later?
No, it's the idea of it.
Okay, yeah.
That concept.
She probably watched Caroline in the City.
Oh my God.
Do you remember Caroline in the City?
I do remember Caroline in the City. Okay, so the guy.
Who was, by the way, both those shows, by the way, Sex in the City and Caroline in the City, those are just women looking for a man. I just want to point that out. There are women who are getting it all, but at the end of the day, they're all just looking for a man.
And they're picking the worst one
They're picking over, just like her. You know what? She's a pioneer in picking the worst man.
We haven't even discussed him yet.
He
what are
sounds
you talking about?
Awful. She compared him to a cigarette ad, babe. Okay? Oh, this is my husband. Who's he like? He's exactly like Joe Camel. What do you mean? Oh, he gives children cancer by being a cartoon character.
He has a big face that looks like a penis.
Yeah.
So, okay, what kind of guy do you drop everything for? This is the question that I posed myself.
Okay.
All right?
Because you're looking at him right now. In your world, you're looking at him.
So...
Yeah.
This guy, his name is Ladd, Ladd. I'm not kidding. His name is Ladd. Ladd Drummond. Drummond.
Drummond?
Ladd Drummond. Okay.
Okay. First thing. Okay. Let me just real quick. Drummond. That is a villain name in like almost every 80s and 90s movie.
Sure.
Like when you find out, that's never.
And Ladd isn't?
No. I'm getting to Ladd.
Okay.
Because that just reminds me of the little lad. Like the little lad that loves berries and cream.
Oh my God.
No?
So Ladd Drummond is a fourth generation member of the prominent Osage County cattle ranching Drummond family.
Okay.
The Drummond family is 79 out of the top 100 landowners in the country, owning 433,000 acres. Fun fact, I tried to confirm this statistic when I found it from the land report, and the number 79 had been removed from the list. I don't know why. Suspicious, but everybody else is there. Bezos is there. Ford is there. They're all there.
Gates is up there. Gates has been trying to buy like land. I think him or Ted Turner.
Ted Turner owns a lot of land.
Yeah, Ted Turner wanted to have enough land he wanted to own land from Canada all the way to the Mexico border, so someday he could ride straight on a horse and never not be on his own land, which is like that's again raise taxes. Raise taxes?
Yeah, raise taxes on the
But
rich.
wait, you said Osage County?
Yeah, like, hey, buckle up and stop talking, okay? We got a lot to get through.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Shut up. Okay? All right. So, Osage County is almost 1.5 million acres. And that's where he's from. The county is huge. It's a giant county.
Yeah, it's a giant county.
It's actually bigger than the state of Delaware.
A lot of things are bigger than the state of Delaware.
And if you add up all the land that the extended members of the Drummond family own, it's 9% of the entire county.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's valued at over $275 million at least, the value of all this land. Because the land is prime grazing land. It has blue stem grass, which is the best way to fatten up cattle.
Oh.
So it's elite land.
So what you're telling me is she married up but pretended he's just a simple farmhand.
exactly what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this woman, Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, has been marketing herself as salt of the earth, middle class, down home. I'm just going to teach y'all how to make Salisbury steaks, y'all, for our hungry ranchers, because that's her whole thing. Is she's a stay-at-home wife. She homeschools the kids. Her husband's a busy rancher, so he's always coming in at the end of the day with the other ranch guys. And she makes them some down home.
But they actually own a multi-million-dollar land corporation?
That's what I'm telling you.
Gotcha.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Gotcha. So she's
the brand is a lie.
So she's pioneering in fucking grifting is what you're telling me right now. She's a pioneer when it comes to rich people pretending they're poor.
So some of the biggest single ranches in the Drummond family are run by Ree Drummond's husband, because she changed her last name, obviously.
Of course she did.
Lad and his brother Tim. So out of all the family members, Lad and her are the richest. They have the most land.
Oh.
Yeah.
This feels like, I know we've never watched, was it Yellowstone? This feels like Yellowstone.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in your mind palace, everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe a little touch Yellowstone on this.
Maybe a little touch of Dynasty.
Okay, so.
Or not Dynasty. What was the one?
Hold on, wait.
Dallas. Sorry.
Okay. Ray and her husband, Lad, and the brother Tim, they own the most. The only one who owns more out of their family, a land, is the Attorney General of Oklahoma, Gentner Drummond, Lad's cousin.
Oh. Wait, his cousin's the Attorney General of the fucking state of Oklahoma?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I found out that out of the cattle grazing and the farming and the ranching and all the money they're making off land, they're also making government subsidies.
Of course they are.
And not the ones you usually think.
Okay.
Not the usual ones.
Not the usual farmer subsidies?
Not the farmer ones that they would usually, they probably get the corn and whatever subsidies.
Yeah, they get all those, yeah.
They receive over $34 million from BLM every year.
The Bureau of Land Management.
That's right, the Bureau of Land Management, because they allow wild horses and burros on their land, and they get paid like $1 million or whatever for each horse.
So they make $34 million. Because Oklahoma's the Sooners too, so like they just got there early.
Yeah.
Because like that's a whole thing. I think
we're going to talk about it. So $34 million they get in their accounts just because they allow wild horses on some of the land they're not using.
Which means they just don't do anything with the land.
No.
Because the horses just walk onto the land.
Just let them graze.
Wild horses. It's just a Rolling Stones song. Okay. All right.
Okay. So I'm just like, I just want you to know, like, he's rich. Like, he's not down home salt of the earth.
He's so rich the government pays him to be richer.
Yeah. That's rich.
He's so rich his cousin is the Attorney General of the state. Okay.
So I hear this. And I'm like, am I just being a hater? Because I'm just a hater because they're just so wealthy. But the thing is as I was reading more and more, it's actually way worse than just like this fake branding deal.
Okay, you're gonna tell me. You just okay. I know you're gonna tell me, but like this already is probably the most upsetting episode and the most upsetting because, like, to me, again, she's just a lady who makes ugly crock pots at Walmart.
Yeah,
she's shitty Rachel Ray.
Yeah, that's
what I've always viewed her as. And then you mean to tell me she's a fucking cattle land baron?
Yes.
Who's getting $34 million a year in government subsidies for just having so much land that she can just let other random animals eat on it.
Yeah, so one time I found one of the things where they sold some of their land.
We don't give people reparations, but we can give these motherfuckers $34 million?
Okay.
Like, wait. The BLM means like a couple different fucking acronyms.
I know.
But one BLM shows up as like, oh, we can give these fuckers.
When I found the note that said the $34 million from BLM, I was like, hold on, I better figure out what the hell that means.
No, I've always, so here's the thing. I've always known about the Bureau of Land Management, and I've always found, because like there's a whole thing with them in the West, and like people in the West, a lot of people have a huge problems with the Bureau of Land Management.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is those same people also have problems with the Black Lives Matters movement, and part of me wonders if it's just because it's the same initials.
It might, yes.
Like they
acronym.
Actually, because they get so used to be like, fuck BLM. And it's like, wait, which one? And like, you actually have to be like, wait, which one? And if you watch them like pause and be like, wait, you might be right. And it's just trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. $34 million is crazy.
Yeah. So it's actually worse than everything I just said, right? Okay.
I'm already so.
I mean, it's hard to be like, oh, it's worse than he owns a ranch that's worth $250 million. So we're gonna take a little history lesson, a little walk backwards. Okay. Like your face says you don't want to.
No, I know.
You know, but you don't know.
I know.
You know, but you don't know.
I know.
But the people listening might not know.
I know. That's why I'm stealing myself up.
Okay. So I just want to quickly talk to you about Osage County.
Oh,
it's important.
No.
It's important.
It is. It's so important.
Osage County, which is the biggest county in Oklahoma, which has some of the same boundaries as the Osage Reservation.
Oh, yeah.
Because when Oklahoma became a state, Osage County was established directly on top of the Osage Reservation. This was through a policy called allotment. The surface land was divided up into individual parcels and distributed to individual Osage citizens. So these are the natives. But all the mineral rights beneath the surface were put into one big pot and divided into equal shares between all 2,229 Osage tribal members. Those rights are called head rights. And that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, so the allotment is the above ground, and everything below ground is head rights. Okay. So it turns out 100 years ago, there was a lot of oil in Oklahoma. Yeah, there was a lot of oil there.
Yeah. A lot of oil.
And when this super valuable oil was found on the land, many of the Osage would sell or lease their land for oil production. And each member of the Osage tribal members was paid for their head rights, right?
Yeah.
They're paid a share of the annual royalties for the leases by the oil companies.
So real quick, just because the way it's been, and I want to make sure that I have this correct.
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
Every member of the Osage tribe got a parcel of land.
Yes.
But the entire pot of the oil, the minerals, everything that's under all of that land, even though it's my parcel, when somebody drills that oil out of there,
you share it between.
I have to share it with
you
the
pool
other.
The tips.
Yeah, we pool the tips.
We pool the tips
so
for the underground
everyone
stuff.
who's Osage gets a cut of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So in 1906 and the years after, the United States Congress passed a series of laws that were intended, in quotes, to help the Osage retain their wealth. And they created a system which would look like what we call guardianship today. Kind of like what Britney Spears had.
Yeah.
Conservatorship.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because there's never been anything wrong with guardianship or Congress.
So they created
when
a
it comes
guardianship
to Native Americans
for, quote, minors and incompetents, and determined under the jurisdiction of Oklahoma's local county probate courts. The Oklahoma courts routinely found Native Americans to be incompetent and never took in mental capacity, ever.
Yeah.
So basically, every member of the Osage Nation was found to be incompetent and therefore needed a guardian to handle their accounts.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So a guardian would be appointed for one Native American woman on the basis of her having savings from the oil money.
Yep.
And so like the guardian could find any reason, or I'm sorry, the state could find any reason to put you under a guardianship. So like there was this one woman, Native woman, who was getting her money, put into a bank account.
Yeah.
And the bank staff and the bank owner reported her to the Oklahoma state government because she wasn't spending any of the money. She just left it in savings and only took out like really small portions of her money. And so the courts found that this was evidence that she did not understand the value of money, and she was put into a guardianship.
So because she didn't spend her money and was trying to build up generational wealth, they said she was a moron.
Yes.
Okay. A legal moron.
Yeah.
And then put a white man in charge of her money.
Yes.
Okay.
So many of the guardians...
Hold on, time out. For those of you just discovering this on YouTube, who are now in the comments being like, how dare you say white man? Specifically in these times, they would legit actually say that. They would say repeatedly how a white man would need to be put in charge of these people's bodies and finances. This is like, you can go, I just got back from Oklahoma where like, not Oklahoma, from Oregon, where they talk about this repeatedly in their state constitution and other things at the Historical Society, how the U.S. Congress and others would repeatedly say, no, this needs to be handled by a white man. So, like, that's the reason why it gets brought up so often. I know that you're 17 years old and you've been watching a lot of idiots on YouTube for a very long time and you're used to being in comment sections that will protect you. This isn't that place, buddy, pal. Move on, okay? Because what we're about to talk about is about to get so much fucking worse to the point where it was nominated for Oscars last year. Keep going.
So many guardians use their appointment to gain control over their ward's wealth for their own personal benefit. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a actual sentence I wrote down. During this period, numerous white men married Osage women to become guardians of their estate.
Yeah.
So it was sometimes easier than going through the courts to try to get access to money than it was to seduce or pay off a parent.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's important backstory to understand about these guardianships that were happening.
Yeah.
Okay. In 1903, a little back further again.
Yeah.
The Drummonds, the founding Drummond, his name's Frederick. He is the patriarch of the Drummonds. He makes his way to Hominy, Oklahoma. Okay. He founded the Hominy Trading Company. The Drummonds were creditors and administrators of Osage estates.
Okay. So they were like the head of all of the... Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So because there were all these restrictions by the government on how Osages could spend their own money. I didn't really get into this, but they did. There were limits on what they could and couldn't buy with their money. And the wards had to tell them what they... Not the wards. The guardianships people had to tell them what they could and couldn't... Like enforce the rules.
Yeah.
Right? So like it's crazy. So... a lot of them would end up in debt, okay?
Wait, so they're rich because they get free money, but because the courts put them under the conservatorships of these white dudes who've been coming into town and stealing their money, they're now broke and, in fact, owe the white dudes money because the white dudes have been spending their own fucking money?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
For administrative fees for handling their own fucking money because it was illegal for them to save their own money.
That's what I'm telling you, yes.
Okay, cool. No, glad. You know what? Okay, that's fine. No, it's fine. It's fuck.
A lot of them wound up in debt because they would have to buy things on credit at places like the Hominy store. So in some cases, if a family was in debt for like $2,000 to $3,000, their land would then be deeded over to the member of the Drummond family to pay for their debt. And so this is an incredibly low price for an allotment. So basically, the Drummonds, Frederick and his sons, had guardianship over many Osage people in the nation, and they would force them to only be allowed to shop at their store, put them into debt, and then when they were in too much debt, they'd be like, well, you could just sell me your allotment. And so they would sell their allotment to get out of debt with them. Okay. Also, the Hominy Trading Company routinely overcharged Osage customers. So if maybe a shirt would charge a white man $6 for a shirt, they would charge an Osage native $50 for a shirt on credit, obviously.
Yeah.
There were also, as you mentioned, annual guardianship fees. So every year they would charge them $1,000 for the fee of being their guardian.
You know what's funny? Is like I just assumed that existed because I was like, no, this is such like bullshit that usually happens. I just assumed that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how could you go this rapidly into debt? Like adding in the also like racially profiling the prices of their shitty store that they're then selling people on credit is like extra shitty, but also just like making up a junk fee out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Real Adobe fucking of them.
So the guardians were also using the Osage accounts as financing.
Of course
so they were using it to pull loans.
Yeah, they were giving themselves loans using the natives' money.
Yeah.
Probably 0 or low % interest loans.
Low interest.
Yeah.
And they would also do business with their friends and other business associates that were also overseeing other accounts, and they all knew the bankers. So like it's all the same people, the judges, the bankers.
It's literally a good old boys network.
It's a good old boys network.
It's a good old boys network. Like y'all, oh my God.
They also, so the Drummond, Frederick, he also owned the only funeral home
of course
that performed funerals, and all the funerals and caskets were paid for by the estates. And so some families were forced to sell their allotments to the Drummonds to cover the cost of their funeral debt. was an important note. Put that in your little mind
Their
palace.
funeral debt.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's like school lunch debt, and one of those things that just like shouldn't fucking exist.
No, exactly.
Okay.
So,
and this is also after we came in and got like said that their religion was bad and made them convert forcibly to Christianity, and then told them to follow our funerary rites, and then we created. We had to charge them for the land that was their land for them to bury their own dead in.
Yeah.
And then also we told them they had to do it in a casket because I'm sure we probably also changed the laws on that side to make how a proper burial should be. You can't
legal.
just use a
You
shawl.
can't just
it's
put
legal.
it
Yeah. And you got to pay that guy and you got to tip him too. And you
Yeah.
got to do all this different stuff. And so, of course, and when he died at that point, he was $2,000 in debt in the estate there. So we're just going to take the estate. Don't worry about it. It was never really your money anywhere. I know your grandkids were really looking forward to having their own land, but have you discovered whiskey?
So, in the 1910s to the 1930s, there was an increased number of unsolved murders and deaths among the Osage persons, which would come to be known as the Reign of Terror. Some 60 or more Osage persons were reported killed. Newer investigations now indicate that these suspicious deaths many suspicious deaths could have been misreported and covered up because, again, the cops are on the payroll, and the death toll would have been well above the hundreds. The movie Killers of the Flower Moon is about this.
Yeah, because Apple TV and Leonardo DiCaprio. Who's the other guy? The guy
Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese did it. De Niro is the one I was thinking. But yeah, Scorsese made a movie about this.
Yeah.
It was last year, I think.
Yeah, it was last year. I haven't watched it yet because every time I get 3 hours together, I'm like, but what if we slept?
Yeah, I know, because of the baby. It's also one of those ones too, where like anything having to do with natives in America at any time until like I want to say
forever. There's no.
I want to say until like maybe 37 centuries from now, like it's gonna be bad. Like it's never gonna be like that good. And so like as a feel good story, it's gonna hurt. Yeah. And so it's one of those ones where I'm always like, I should watch this. I should. But yeah, it's the second you said Osage, that's why I lost my fucking mind because I was like, this is that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, isn't it?
Exactly is. So
do they play the Drummonds in the movie?
No. So the Killers of the Flower Moon focuses on this guy William K. Hale, who's a real guy. He's played by Robert De Niro in the movie.
Okay.
He's convicted for aiding and abetting. Oh my God! Spoilers! If you haven't heard this movie.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Spoilers.
Also, reminder: this is about the pioneer woman. So if you're like, oh yeah, that label I saw at Walmart that one time. That's where we are. We're now at the murders of hundreds of natives peoples.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So, William K. Hale in the movie is convicted for aiding and abetting the murder of an Osage man, and he's arrested. Okay. So there's a lot more than that. That's all I want to tell you without giving it all away, right? The whole movie is about head rights. The movie itself is about the rights to the minerals and the oil underneath.
Yeah.
And what happens and how the people that had the guardianships and were running the police stations and the banks were behaving. Yeah. The murders, the reign of terror. It's all about that, right?
It's one thing for the listeners to keep in mind as well is as you're hearing more and more about mineral rights internationally, right? So when we're talking about lithium-ion batteries and cobalt, like in the Congo and all these other different places, Afghanistan is another one where there's so many precious metals in there. As we're changing what brings us our energy, this is what's happening, and this will happen again to the people who are currently living on those lands. So here in Pennsylvania, specifically where we live, the first big energy source was literally trees. So you wanted the land that the people were staying on, so they moved all the native peoples to the west. And then we discovered coal was a really good thing to use, and we discovered a shit ton of coal here. Then Pennsylvania discovered oil. And again, so you just start seeing these things moving over and over and over again. We just discovered a huge lithium deposit here. You know how we discovered that? In our frack juice. It gets so much worse. All of us are going to be poisoned. But yes, keep on going.
So in the movie and in real life, when this guy, William K. Hale, Robert De Niro, is arrested, he sells his land that he owns. Okay. To the Drummond family.
Okay.
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a break. I'm going to remember that this is about the ugliest crock pot I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Maybe a slow cooker.
Mm-hmm. They're the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Crockpots are the same thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's take a little break.
Let's take
a deep breath.
Gonna take a little breaky now. Listen, I know that you have twists in you and you have turns when it comes to your episodes.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like the third sentence has been the twist ever since.
Yeah.
Because again, I had to just go to...
Yeah, no, I literally started at, she met this guy. We haven't even started her business yet.
I know. We're not
I just wanted you to know who she married.
And like, here's the thing. It's like when you first said it, my first thought was, oh yeah, she met Ree Drummond and he's like, he's like a cowboy ranch hand, Marlboro man. I'm like, oh, she got pregnant. Like that was my thought. Is like, she is... You said she grew up in a country club. Her dad's a doctor in Oklahoma. All this different stuff. She met a Drummond. He was probably like, I like you. And she was like, ha, 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 ha.
Lock
check,
it down.
please.
Lock it down.
Yeah, instantly.
Yeah.
And then I had to go look at her awful fucking... I had to look at the world's ugliest air fryer, which had a 1-star review that said, it just said, looks beautiful, smells bad. But yeah.
Okay. At the University of Central Oklahoma... they have one of the Drummond brothers' biographies. That's one of the original sons of Frederick.
Okay. Frederick was the evil original.
The main patriarch is Frederick, the first guy.
Yeah, the first guy who got there and just was like, we're gobbling up everyone's land because nobody looks out here. It's the middle of fucking nowhere, and we can become the kings of Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. In the biography, there's a memo between two of the brothers, who started the main ranching enterprise. And in the memo, it seems to indicate that they borrowed $15,000, which, by the way, in today's money is $250,000.
Okay.
So they borrowed $250,000 from one of their Osage wards to pay for the land they bought from William K. Hale.
Oh, okay.
The Robert De Niro.
So they borrowed they borrowed stolen money to pay for stolen land.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So from a murderer.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
So there is no other indication of there's no proof that this happened. It's like it's an allegedly in that there's nothing written down because all of this is backdoor.
Yeah. And it's all really loose.
It's all the papers have disintegrated or burned.
Yeah.
This is just one note in a biography, and that's the only proof that this happened.
Yeah. That
it was taken from an Osage.
Beyond all of the fact that it's just happening everywhere out in the open and nobody really thinks.
I just want to cover my own bases.
No, I understand.
But I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
This particular Osage man, the guy they in quotes borrowed the money from, his name was Myron Bangs Jr. And he was incredibly skeptical of his guardians, the Drummonds. He on several occasions wrote to the U.S. officials and suggested that he thought his guardians, Roy Cecil Drummond and Fred Gentner Drummond, were improperly using his land and that he didn't trust the way that they were managing his money, but because the U.S. policy basically determined that Osage citizens were mentally incompetent, he had no power to get out from under the guardianship.
Yep. So
he wrote to the government being like, they're stealing my money. And they're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know how money works.
Yeah. So one thing, okay. So you know how I hate the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Okay. So the Neil Gorsuch, he's the Supreme Court. He was the first one Trump appointed. He's the one who got the stolen seat that should have gone to Merrick Garland under Obama.
Yeah.
Right? Weirdly, this is the only thing he's right about. Neil Gorsuch, whenever there's a native trial that comes up, especially when it deals to land rights or any of this stuff, he is instantly yeah, fuck those motherfuckers. If there was ever a man who wants to take down the Drummonds, beyond the fact every Osage person or anyone who's ever heard this fucking story, it's Neil Gorsuch.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre. Everyone's always been caught off guard by it. But now knowing this and knowing where he's from and who he's met and all those different things of people he's worked with, I'm like, okay. So you're part of me wants to be like, hey, Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, you're trying to do this to women, right? That's the part, you're trying to do this to everyone else, right? This is the history. Okay.
they don't want to think about that. Okay?
You know the Drummonds are all Republicans, right? Like now, they used to be Democrats, but they all switched in the 60s.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Years and years and years later, the Drummonds sold that Hales land to Ted Turner. And Ted Turner, years and years and years later, put it up for sale at an auction, and the Osage Nation bought it back.
Okay.
So that's nice.
I feel
kinda,
good.
Sorta.
I feel like it should have just been given to them.
I don't like that they had to buy it back.
I don't like that they had to buy it back either.
I think they should have got it back.
I think it should have just been handed.
In 1925, the U.S. Congress changed the law to prohibit non-Osage from inheriting head rights from Osage with half or more Native American ancestry in an effort to protect the Osage. The U.S. government continued to manage the leases and royalties from oil-producing lands over decades. The tribe became increasingly concerned about these assets. In 2000, the Osage Nation filed a suit against the Department of the Interior, alleging that it had not adequately managed the assets and paid people the royalties that they were due. The suit was settled in 2011 for $380 million and commitments to improve the program management.
You know what's weird? That doesn't feel like enough money.
Yeah.
Like $300 million is a lot of money, but like for the amount of time that passed and everything that went through and the amount of minerals that were stolen, that doesn't feel...
Not nearly enough money.
That doesn't feel like enough.
Okay, so listen. Anyway, she marries him.
Yeah, the pioneer woman married this Drummond.
Marries the Drummond, the Drummond guy. She... down home, salt of the earth rancher, just normal dude. And then they, let me look at this, went on a 5-week honeymoon to Australia.
Okay.
That's what normal people have money to do, right?
Real quick, I just want to say, because you brought up the Department of Interior.
Yeah.
The current Secretary of the Interior, her name is Deb Haaland, Haaland.
Yeah.
She is the first Native American to ever be a Secretary of the Interior.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that like that is something that it was a big deal when she got this position, because again, also it deals with Bureau of Land Management and a bunch of other different stuff that are mixed in there.
Yeah.
And this was like a big point of specifically the Biden administration and others to be like, hey, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about fucking diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay? Yeah. It's the big part of that. I feel like the D is not as big as the equity. Because, you know, as you just heard in this, these fucking white guys, the Drummonds, were able to come in there, not just steal the land. They were able to use the money from the head rights, which they could take out as loans, the same way you could a home equity loan. And they did. That's the same thing. It's the same thing that sucks when you have landlords that take over a fucking area. And you're like, oh, well, everyone still gets a house. But yeah, but none of them have equity. Because you don't have that, you can't borrow against it. And because you can't borrow against it, you have less options in the future. And someone can just fucking take it away from you because you don't have goddamn equity.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, okay, also, I didn't really write this down, but I did go down a side rabbit hole because apparently I couldn't confirm the lineage, but apparently there's a cousin, a Drummond cousin. Okay. Her name's Kaylee, allegedly. I don't know if they're actually related, but it seemed like people thought they were related, but I couldn't find any proof. But she is the CEO of this company called Westwin, okay? And Westwin is trying to open a refinery in Oklahoma on Osage native land, of course.
Yeah.
And the refinery wants to refine, what's that mineral? Cobalt and nickel. And because she, I guess, was working in DC for a couple years, shook the right hands, met people, went to Africa, worked with the Congolese, but not the people you think, and met a bunch of people. And she feels that it's un-American that we don't process our own cobalt, and that the Communist Republic of China, her words, does all of that. And so she's demanding that America start processing their own cobalt and nickel here so that we don't have to rely on communist China
to process our own vape batteries.
Yeah, vape batteries. And no, but her whole thing is the
electric cars.
Nope. The what are those weapons of mass destruction?
Oh.
Yeah, all of the military stuff that needs them.
Oh, got it.
So she is
for like drones and such.
Yeah,
and those
so
type
she's
of things.
and the robot dogs with the guns on them.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to open a cobalt refinery in Oklahoma on Osage land, and she's being backed financially by who? Dark money and the former CEO of Boeing and some other people. And it's really crazy, but it was like a mineral rights thing. But I couldn't like find the I was like, she might be a cousin,
connect them?
But I couldn't. I tried so hard to figure out how they were related, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
But
here's my question. Here's my question.
Yeah.
Okay. With the Drummonds.
Yeah.
Why not go fuck with anybody else? Why do you keep fucking with the Osage? That's the part I don't get. Right? Like, okay, you're gonna be rich fucks in Osage County, but like, there's also other counties in Oklahoma. There's 50 other states, 49 other states. Like, go listen.
No, this is a wrong thing to say. We don't want them fucking with anyone else.
Time out. Delaware is right over there. Okay, it is full of every company and corporation in the world. Go put your fucking cobalt refinery in the fucking right there.
Oh, okay. I see what
you
you're
see
saying.
what I'm saying?
I thought you were saying that they should start treating other groups of people poorly.
No.
You were saying put the refinery somewhere else.
I'm saying, fucking just leave the Osage alone at this point. Like, I understand y'all are going to fuck somebody over and you're going to hurt people. I get that. Just leave the fuck. You've beat the shit out of these people.
Yeah.
What the
also,
fuck?
she named the company West Win because she believes the West needs a win.
A West Win.
Yeah.
W-I-N.
Yeah, the win for the West.
I thought you meant wind.
No, win for the West because we got to think about the West. Anyway, listen, we got to go back to Ree.
I know, the pioneer woman.
This is a pioneer woman.
Who makes the worst Fiesta wear? This is the fucking ugliest Fiesta wear. No, I am.
Listen, but I told you, I was on her website when I was researching this.
Yeah.
And I think it's that bottom one. She is switching over to beige. She's not doing these florals anymore.
She's turning into a beige woman?
She's trying to do more beige stuff to get away from the florals.
Yeah, because she's sold all the florals she can.
Yeah, now she has to do beige mom stuff.
Okay.
So listen. She marries him. They go on a very not expensive 5-week honeymoon in Australia.
Wait, this is what she looks like? I didn't have a picture of her in my mind.
Oh, that's her, yeah.
Oh my God, I hate her so much.
Ginger on ginger crime happening right now.
Yeah, no, this is...
So listen, after they get married, in about 2006, she starts writing a blog. And the blog is titled Confessions of a Pioneer Woman. Later, she changes the blog title to The Pioneer Woman. Okay?
Okay.
In her blog, she writes about topics such as ranch life and homeschooling and what it is to be a homemaker.
I actually have it up right now.
Okay.
And it's all, she was on the Today Show talking about how to heal your own hair.
Okay.
And all this other like crazy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So about a year after the launch of her blog, she posted her first recipe and tutorial on the blog. And that first recipe, how to cook a steak. That's right. You need a recipe, guys.
You need a recipe?
Salt, pepper, put it on the grill.
You need a
5
recipe
minutes,
for that?
5 minutes each side. The end.
What type of steak? Do we know?
No.
Not even T-bone, not even a
I don't think it
fillet?
matters when you own a bunch of cattle and you're just trying to sell beef.
Yeah,
I can't prove that's true, but I just think it's true.
Yeah.
As of September 2009, Drummond's blog reportedly received 13 million page views per month.
That's a lot.
So it's very popular.
It's very popular. And this is 2009. This is really before. I mean, this is like Facebook was taking over the world, but this is back when people used to have their individual blogs.
Yeah.
And they used to actually be able to get advertising revenue for it as well. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So as of September, so that was that. Drummond made her television debut on an episode of Throwdown with Bobby Flay in 2010.
She threw down with Bobby Flay.
Fucking Bobby Flay. I fucking hate Bobby Flay.
He is a gateway to suck.
Fucking worst. Although our friend beat Bobby Flay.
She did.
And that is the greatest thing because fuck Bobby Flay forever. No. I really feel passionate about this.
I know you do.
I don't know if I've ever discussed how passionate I hate Bobby Flay on this podcast. There's something so fucked up about the setup of Beat Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
Because at the core of the original idea is Bobby Flay would go into another chef's kitchen and be like, oh, you make tiramisu? I can make a better tiramisu than you. Let's prove it. I challenge you to a tiramisu off. And then the whole show is he goes across the country challenging chefs
in their small restaurants.
In their small restaurants.
In their small businesses.
To see if he can make a better dish than them. Sometimes they lose in their restaurant.
Yeah.
Allegedly, because it's his judges. But it's like, it's such an egomaniac move. They'd be like, oh, you think you make the best caramelized onion burger? I'll show you. I'm going to make the best caramelized onion burger better than you.
Yeah.
And
I know that's your signature dish and it's how your family gets fed.
Fuck you.
But we're paying you an exposure.
Yeah. Oh, God, I
Which
hate
is a
Bobby
way
Flay.
to die in the elements.
So anyway, it made me really happy when my friend beat Bobby Flay. That was Miss Rachel's vegan restaurant in South Philly.
Yeah. she made a better vegan cheesesteak than Bobby Flay.
Yeah. His apparently was really bad.
Yeah.
So by 2011, the blog, I keep saying bog, the blog's popularity had risen to approximately 23.3 million page views per month.
Wow.
So this is a very fucking popular blog.
Yeah.
And this is the same year that the Pioneer Woman premieres on Food Network.
Okay.
So she was on Bobby Flay in 2010. 1 year later, she gets her own show called The Pioneer Woman on Food Network.
Very different than the tequila.
Yeah. Also, she, again, to be clear, she's not a chef.
No.
She is a stay-at-home wife and mother, which is awesome, and she cooks food for her family, but like her recipe writing, even on the blog, isn't recipe writing.
Yeah, it's very simple.
She's just like, this is how I make this. And then oftentimes on her blog, she would ask people to write in their recipes. So her blog became a place to like share recipes more than it was her writing them.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, remember those little like boxes people would have in their kitchen?
Yes.
And it'd be like, oh, this is my Aunt Petunia's recipe.
I
and
love
this is
those
this
boxes.
thing. I know you love those boxes. But like, yeah, my mom had a bunch of those where
Yeah.
she would have cards and it was different people had written recipes
Oh my
on.
God, let me say my favorite thing about those boxes. Yeah. So there is a senior center not too far from here that I volunteered at. And at the senior center, in the like when you first walk in the foyer, they have all different card boxes because a lot of the senior ladies will bring in theirs that they're not using anymore, and you can just borrow them like a library book. You can just borrow any recipe and then bring them back.
Yeah.
And they're so cute.
Yeah.
It's all Jell-O based.
It is all Jell-O.
So there's a lot of Jell-O and Cool Whip.
My mom would do that though. She
Yeah.
would have the little different cards. I remember her going through them. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a Rolodex of food.
Only to be outdone by little church cookbooks.
Little church cook. Yeah,
Which I wanna
of
make one
everyone's
day.
favorite. Yeah.
I gotta make one of those one day.
Yeah.
A little church with a spiral bound.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make Mrs. Pearlmania's.
This is
little church
Pearlmania's cookbook. Yeah.
But it won't be a church.
What would we call it? The civilization woman?
No.
I don't want to say civilized. Because
No.
I want to just whatever the opposite of the pioneer woman is.
I don't want to be associated with the Pioneer Woman at all. I just want to make my own little church
doing
cookbook.
your own little church thing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So-
but do you want to be associated with the church?
No.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's just the look. There's a very specific look. They're only
I
like
know what
20
you're talking
pages.
about. I know, and they
They're
had the
laminated.
Yeah, and they have the little spiral.
Yeah, they're perfect.
I'm just trying to come up with the perfect name for it now.
Oh no.
You know
We'll
what?
come up with later.
Throw it in the comments.
What
do you think? What do you think
should
that
I
she should
name
call
my little church cookbook?
Yeah, a little 20-page little cookbook.
Church cookbook. Okay, so the Drummond, who was arguably one of Food Network's biggest stars. Okay, she is
Really?
so popular. She's more popular than most of the others. Like we think of Guy Fieri, we think of Bobby Flay and the others, but financially, dollar for dollar, Ree Drummond is the most popular Food Network star.
So I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a theory. It's the same thing with Fox.
Okay.
And it's that there is only because first thing, she's stepping into the space that fills the lady who put butter in everything and said the N-word. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh shit.
Fuck, what's her name?
We went. Wait.
You know her name. Come on. What's her name? What are you typing in right now? Butter lady? Remember she said she got canceled.
Paula Deen. My search says.
What did you just search? What did you just search?
I'm going to turn my Google
What did you just
around.
search to say? Canceled butter. You wrote canceled butter chef to find Paula Deen?
It came up first.
Okay.
Thing.
But I feel like, really, you end up with this. There is a Southern Midwest. We're trying this type of thing. Again, corporate. We're keeping it clean.
Yeah.
We're keeping it traditional.
She's selling the idea of a traditional stay-at-home wife who cooks for a hardworking, manly husband, has 4 well-behaved and homeschooled children.
Yep.
Her house is always pristine because they're filming at her house. Her hair is perfect. Her food is always plated on
But what I'm
cast
saying
iron.
is, there is a market of 40 million people in America who want that, right? And she is one of maybe 3 people at the top who are on TV actually selling that. So it's the same thing with Fox News versus CNN, MSNBC, PBS, CBS, ABC, all these other networks, right? NPR. Fox says we're the conservative network, so every conservative watches Fox. When everyone else watches everything else. So it's who is fighting over what share of what pie. So she'll end up being the biggest because she's the only one for that super niche market.
Yeah.
And that's where the selling point is. And then, okay.
Yeah, so she's just a little old cattle rancher's wife writing a little internet blog
while living
to share recipes and stories with her about her family that just so happened to blow up into a multi-million-dollar empire that had no financial backing to start.
Yeah.
It's just like I started in my garage. You know, I had nothing to back me up.
Yeah, we just had this idea. The stack of dead bodies over there, the literal stack of dead bodies over in the corner.
Don't look at those.
Don't ever ask don't ask what our county was named after. Never ask why the Pioneer County's name is named after that. And don't ask why the founders of this county seem to have my last name everywhere on every fucking thing. Don't even notice that. Just you know what? Honestly, just fly on by.
Look at the pretty flowers on this plate.
Just fly on by our flyover country.
She goes on to write many cookbooks, children's books, and autobiography. In 2015, she launches a homey lifestyle brand at Walmart with cookware, cutlery, appliances, clothing, and outdoor living products, all based on her whole aesthetic, which is these like big, bright florals.
Yeah.
And so like when you watch her show, she's always wearing those color florals.
Yeah.
And so that is literally her aesthetic. In 2016, the Drummonds, okay, so there is a town in Oklahoma called Pawhuska.
Okay.
Which is in Osage County,
Yeah.
Pawhuska.
Yeah.
It is a deserted town, like ghost town, right?
Yeah.
And the Drummonds, Lad and Ree, bought a couple properties there because they wanted to revitalize the town.
Yeah, the ghost town.
So they bought this historic building, and it's a restaurant retail store, like a really high-end Cracker Barrel.
Okay.
Like you can buy stuff there, but it's like it has a sit-down restaurant. It's got an espresso bar.
Yeah.
The whole thing. So the building is the historical Osage Mercantile Building. It's a 100-year-old building, right? It's the original, and they call the restaurant the Mercantile.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it's called. It's got like a big light-up thing. And the Osage Mercantile Building
I was about to ask.
was built in 1903.
Uh-oh.
And became Osage Mercantile Company in 1910. And that company actually hired a very young immigrant named Fred Drummond to be a clerk for his first job after arriving in America.
Uh-huh.
And that's the end of my research on the pioneer woman.
Uh-huh. So they literally have a family. They're like, oh, we just happened to buy this building, which is exactly where our patriarch came into town as he started to gobble up native land.
Yeah, they bought a bunch of stuff in it. Well, okay, so here's the other thing. Pawhuska, because of the Mercantile, they also opened a hotel, an ice cream shop, a babada, all these other things. And they have actually revitalized this town to the point where like the mayor and all of the residents have living wage jobs. Like, I'm actually not going to fault them for what they've done to bring back that town.
I'm not
I
either.
just felt that it was such an incredible full circle moment to find out that Frederick Drummond had worked at the Osage Mercantile Building and probably learned how to run a store there.
There's a town called Drummond, Oklahoma. Just so you know. I just pulled it up. Yeah, there's Drummond, Oklahoma. There it is. It exists. There's 405 people in it. I am...
How are you?
I'm not good, babe.
No.
I'm not good. I thought we were going to make fun of, the world's ugliest air fryer, an ugly chair.
I mean, we can still make fun of them. They're not great looking.
They're not fun.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. If you like them, I'm happy for you.
No, it's fine. Like, it reminds me a lot when we used to go down to North Carolina a lot when my grandmother was near the end of her life and she was staying at a elder care facility. We used to stay at a bed and breakfast that was run by like a distant cousin. And they had like, that was kind of their aesthetic.
Yeah.
There was like very much like a late 90s through early 2000s, that kind of like, hey, it's like the 50s but plastic.
Yeah.
Like more plastic than the 50s ever could do. Type of like resale type of thing where like, hey, we try to remake it. It's a little bit too bright. It's a little bit too this. And you're like, okay, cool, whatever. And they had a lot of that stuff. I used to love saying it was there was this lady, Nancy, and her husband, Johnny. And we would sit there and we would watch like DirecTV and all this different stuff. And they were big Arizona Diamondbacks fans. And I was like...
That's weird.
Well, they just like really liked the new baseball team. And at that time, the Arizona Diamondbacks were big. Which, I could probably go to an Arizona Diamondbacks game when I'm in Phoenix, Arizona on June 30th. It's a 4 p.m. start to that show.
Ooh,
it's a
4 p.m.?
early matinee.
That's nice. You can get dinner after.
Get dinner after.
No traffic.
No traffic whatsoever there in Chandler, Arizona, which is basically Greater Phoenix. So, yeah. But I think I want to say you boomed me.
I do. Yeah. I
You
feel
really
like I did.
boomed me on this one.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the twists and turns that this went down. I feel all twisted.
Yeah.
I feel very turnt.
I apologize for flabbering your guests.
You did. So with that, we do have a few Patreons, a few new members, a few new team leads we want to thank. So we're going to take a quick pause, and when we come back, we're going to thank those people, maybe drop some more lore about ourselves, and then get ready for the Q&A episode that will be premiering next week.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania.
500.net. That's if you want to join our Patreon, become a team lead, help us keep this podcast growing. Today, I'm using a new tripod. Thank you, Patreons. We also have dental insurance. It's a lot. There's a lot that's been a big help. So I want to thank everybody who's joined us. There's so many of you, and we're just like so ecstatic every single time.
Yeah.
And we love giving our shout outs to our new members, which we have 5 of this week.
Let's go.
Let's go ahead and start off by this is a reference, actually, there's a couple references to last week.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so the first one is _ knife bush did 9/11. Because we talked about the knife bush in the last episode, because you when we go into a Philadelphia sporting event or a concert.
Was that the last episode?
I think it was the last
I feel
episode.
like it was.
It might have been 2 episodes ago. But yeah, that's a good call.
Hey, hon.
Hey, hon, _ knife bush did 9/11. After that, we have Casey Lee.
Hey, Casey Lee.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Hey, hon. After that, we have binge this podcast with my partner while displaced from a house fire in February _ #finally home # he is Mr. Milk Pulp # I'm sorry.
I am haunted by milk pulp. And then somebody commented
Yeah.
on the episode and said, "Isn't cottage cheese just milk pulp?" And I said, "You have ruined that."
Yeah.
Also, I'm really sorry about your fire. We had a flood in our house once, and it ruined our lives.
No, you need to back up on that one. We bought a home in South Philadelphia back in 2015.
Yeah.
We lived there. It had recently been redone. Everything, new floors, new kitchen, the entire thing.
Yeah.
And the water line to the ice machine on the fridge fell off in the middle of the night.
Because they didn't buy the $1.25 little
clamp
that it needed.
Yep. And that water line fell off and sprayed 1,000 gallons of water throughout our house while we slept.
Yep.
And this was about 3 weeks after we had moved in.
Yep.
And then we had to live in a gutted out house for 6 months while our insurance handled it.
Yeah. I would say we lived in our bedroom
Yeah.
for 6 months with our dog and 2 cats.
Yes. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, but we got through it.
R.I.P. Snap Kitchen.
Yeah.
Remember Snap Kitchen?
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was a Snap Kitchen in Philly. You just kept eating there.
We couldn't use our kitchen because the flood happened in the kitchen, so they had to gut it.
Yep.
And so every meal we had to eat out.
Yep.
And because we didn't have a fridge or anything, and so I had to keep detailed receipts of every meal so I could submit them to the insurance company.
Yep.
And so I just always went to this place called Snap Kitchen.
And which would made pre-made meals that we
Yeah.
could microwave.
Yeah.
And I actually had to buy, because the microwave in the place was actually built into the wall,
Yeah.
and they had to take that out of
So
the
we had
wall,
to
do the
buy
water
one.
damage. So I bought like a $90 microwave from
In our
Walmart.
bedroom.
Yeah. Pioneer Woman microwave. No, it wasn't a Pioneer Woman microwave. But yeah, we had that like in our bedroom
Yeah.
on my desk it was next to the computer. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is the grossest I've ever lived. After binge this podcast, congratulations on moving back in your home, by the way. After that, we have K _the_ad_hater. Let's go.
Let's go.
We love a hater.
Haters. Oh, hateration.
We love an ad hater.
Holleration.
Yeah.
As Mary J. Blige promised.
Yeah. And finally, our final Patreon of this session is a very good person.
A very good person?
Just a very good person.
Is that what it's called?
No, her name's Megan L. But I just wanted to call her a very good person. Megan L.
Great person.
Hey, let's meet our team leader.
And we just did. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's been joining us, for all of the different things. We are working through this summer to do all the stand-up tours, and then we're going to try to come up with another tier, another goal.
Yeah.
Another
and
wacky.
Thank you all for filling out the survey.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for the survey.
That's really helpful for us to look at and see how we want to grow and the things that you guys want to hear from us.
Yeah, and kind of we want to keep going on that side of things. So thank you guys so much for the questions, the survey, everything. Just everything. Yeah. Honestly, you give so much to us that is
also
incredible.
Thank you for the comments and the likes.
Yeah, all those things.
It's so fun to read our comments on the Patreon and on Instagram and iTunes.
Yeah.
They're so
fucking
fucking funny.
Every time
Anytime I think you're funny, I read comments and I'm like, they're funnier than
Listen,
us.
honest to God, every time it's one of the things I'm the worst at is naming things, and then y'all show up in the comments. I'm like, fuck, we should have named it that. So yeah, you guys are great. We
look out for Goon Cave merch.
Goon Cave merch soon. Oh, secret word. What's the secret word? Everyone's waiting for the secret word.
Salisbury steak.
Salisbury steak? Mm-hmm. Listen, I've eaten a lot of them. I have about 4 of them in my fridge
I never
right now.
made you the Pioneer Woman's recipe version.
That's true. So this is the word of the day for the comments. Salisbury steak. We'll see you guys next week for the question and answer. Have a good week.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.